Alright, thanks for stopping by. Got a long one for you today. Hope you brought your popcorn. You're hanging out here instead of watching Netflix. I'm honored. Glad to have you. Got a lot of problems to solve on Peak 15. The Geth being the least of them, really. Like to have a word with Matriarch Benezia. I'm sure Liara would too, considering that's her mom. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. First, we need to figure out what's the big problem here. Apparently, Peak 15 is having an issue, and considering the nature of the research they do in these labs, it's not going to end well, right? The only reason these labs aren't illegal is because there's no law here. That's literally the only reason. The law is what the executive board says it is, and basically as long as you pay your rent, then they don't care what you do. And that is a recipe for disaster. It's all kinds of genetic stuff, military, biotics, you name it. And so we'll find out shortly what issue they're having here. Interestingly enough, this is the one where Saren is a major investor, which is essentially why Matriarch Benezia was sent here to see what, to fix whatever problem's going on, which is good for us because it gives us a place to find her. We needed to track her down anyway. If we can't have Saren, then we'll take his right-hand man or woman, whatever. Well, that's not good. Something tells me this is their problem. Research facilities are designed to contain whatever they're experimenting on, and if this is what they were experimenting on and they've lost containment, then this doesn't bode well for anybody. Apparently the Rachni, and this goes back to the Rachni War, which we learned a little bit about from Avina when we were back on the Citadel. She talked about the Rachnis and how essentially the early Citadel Council, the Citadel races, this was before humanity even joined the party. This was early on when they were still discovering the Mass Effect relays and all that other stuff. They had ventured off into unexplored space and kicked over some big anthill and found these guys. These guys took exception to that and said, well, if we wipe you out, you won't be able to do that again, and proceeded to try to do so. And if it weren't for the Krogan, they probably would have succeeded. And wow, I almost died right there. Basically, the Krogan at the time were able to reproduce almost as fast as these guys.
Xenobiology is not my field.
Yeah, notice Tali and Liara have no idea what these things even are. They don't even recognize them. So these Rachni have been out of sight, out of mind. Basically, as long as they're gone, well, then good riddance, and we won't have to think about them anymore. Well, apparently they're not gone, and we already ran into one of these guys in that Cerberus, that super secret Cerberus lab. Okay, so that doesn't bode well for us either, because, all right, if this is basically Saren's company, I mean, he's like a key shareholder with Binary Helix, right? And we can assume that he has them doing this research on these things here, these Rachni. And Cerberus got their hands on it, then they're aligned with him in some way. Or at least they have access to what he has access to. And that's not a good thing. So we've already, everywhere that we've gone to find Saren, everything we've stumbled over along the trail, the Thorian and the Thorian creepers, now the Rachni, we've already seen at the Cerberus labs when we were tracking down Admiral Kahoku. So experiments and research into this type of thing is already out there. Okay, and Cerberus is a human group. They're a human alliance black op thing that I think has basically just gone out of control. But they apparently have all these companies. If these aren't their companies, they at least have interests there. And this goes beyond humanity in that a lot of these companies are like Asari and Solarian and so on and so forth. So if Cerberus has like major stock holdings or what have you with all these different things, and they have access to all this stuff, and that is a lot of power to give to a group that really has no restrictions. They have no oversight. There's no checks and balances there. And so if they start to go astray, who's there to stop them? And we're going to see that really play out. But I think it's really, really important for the Mass Effect story is to not take Mass Effect 1 as a story in and of itself. This is the introduction. This is where we lay the groundwork. This is where all the fabric is sewn together to put together the whole story that is Mass Effect. So 2 and 3 will play off whatever we learn here. And so the more we get out of Mass Effect 1, the richer our experience in Mass Effect 2 and 3 is, because we'll understand some basic things about the Mass Effect universe that we could otherwise miss if you don't pay attention to some of the clues that you're given and stuff, you know. And I by no means am familiar with all of them. I'm just going with the lore that I've pieced together from playing the game. I haven't read any of the books, and they got a lot of books and stuff. They've written like whole like series and things about Mass Effect stuff. I don't know a lot about all that. I've just gathered what I have from just playing the game. But it's a lot because they give you so much. They give you so many things that you can piece together if you just pay attention, basically. Okay, let's see. The key to this is getting one column into another column. Like in this case, I've got square, triangle, circle. I got to get the square column to either the triangle or the circle. It doesn't matter, one or the other. And you can use all three to kind of move pieces around, but you cannot put a brick on top of another brick unless it's open above that. Like, see, if there was one in that first or second slot, I couldn't put that third one down, type of thing. So it's really cool. It's kind of a puzzle of deduction. I really like that. Kind of simple, but fun anyway.
It looks like you're trying to restore this facility. Would you like help?
Help would be great. Who are you?
This system is monitored to respond to the name Mira. May I ask your name?
Commander Shepard, Systems Alliance Navy.
One moment, please. Service record confirmed. Due to the current emergency, you are entitled to secure access of all systems. Please note that queries relating to corporate secrets require privileged access. Privileged access is only available to Binary Helix executives. This system is ready to process queries. You may access me at any holographic interface within Peak 15.
I need to find Matriarch Benezia.
Lady Benezia departed on the passenger tramway to the Rift Station subsidiary labs. User alert. The tramway system is currently inoperable.
What's the situation here?
One moment, please. Diagnostics in progress. Critical failure. Main reactor shut down in accordance with emergency containment procedures. Manual restart required. Critical failure. Landline connections are disabled. Passenger tram systems are offline. Report complete. Do you have an additional system status query?
Do you know why the reactor was shut down?
I'm sorry, but I was offline at the time. Shutdown could occur if reactor breach seems likely, or in the case of catastrophic laboratory containment failure. Emergency guidelines suggest the frigid environment will kill biological contagions. It may also damage mechanical ones.
Turn off the heat and hope the cold puts whatever you've unleashed to sleep. Nice.
What are the landlines and why are they disabled?
The landlines connect my mainframes here at Central Station to the various sub-facilities of Peak 15. This allows the crew to remotely access my databases from the comfort and security of their labs. When emergency protocols were implemented within the hot labs, the cabling was automatically ejected.
Tell me what happened here.
I'm sorry, but I need a more specific query.
Why were you taken offline?
In the event, Peak 15 must be sterilized for security purposes. My program and data are purged.
They kill you if something goes wrong?
My systems are permanently disabled. To be killed, I would need to be alive. I am merely a database program.
The creatures we've encountered here, did they come from the labs?
I'm sorry, Commander. Inquiries related to our research require privileged access. Only executives of Binary Helix have that level of clearance.
Tell me what occurred immediately before you shut down.
Stage 1 alert issued at Hot Labs. Contaminants released from Laboratory Pod Gamma. Emergency protocols implemented. Stage 2 alert issued at Hot Labs. Isolation 2 breached. Tram shut down. Landline to Hot Labs disconnected. Stage 3 alert issued locally. Contaminants in tram tunnels. Station shutdown and evacuation initiated. Code Omega sent.
What sort of contaminants escaped?
I'm sorry, Commander. Inquiries related to our research require privileged access. Only executives of Binary Helix have that level of clearance.
That's all I need right now.
Very well, Commander. Logging you out.
Okay, so essentially we need to fix the power and hit the switch, basically. And I'm going to have to yell over the top of Mira here because she's not going to shut up until we fix this stuff. Literally. Alright, so a couple things here. Alright, so we got to do this just to go across the trams to get to the labs themselves. Apparently the Arachni have made their way all the way out here. We can only assume they're loose also. Unless Novaria's climate has kept them in check, kept them inside. I seriously doubt that, considering Arachni can survive some really, really harsh conditions. They thrive in harsh conditions. Once again, that's why the Krogan were sent after them, because the Krogan were the only ones that could really meet them on their own turf and fight them accordingly. Apparently the Solarians and the Asari were having difficulty with that. And the Krogans were able to, once again, reproduce at a rate where they could keep up with the Arachni, I guess. The Krogan lost a lot of numbers, but they could reproduce really quick. You got to figure, their population is only kept in check by the fact that only 1 in 1,000 Krogans are actually born alive. The rest are stillborn or whatever. Okay, and so if that wasn't the case, just imagine how quickly the Krogan would spread. And that, wow, that is a crazy, moral dilemma that you're given. BioWare's really good about that, is creating these moral dilemmas, is if you had an option to undo what they call the genophage, right, which keeps the Krogan in check, they are a warlike species. They are going to go into every corner, into every bar, and pick a fight with everybody. Because that's just how they live. And this doesn't really have so much anything to do with the way they were treated after the Arachni War, which is really, really shitty. Their thanks for saving the galaxy and saving all the Citadel species at the time was to basically get a letter that said, here, you're going to lose 99.9% of your children. Appreciate your service. Now, please go away. That's really what they got. Now, I would be bitter too, okay? I'm not lying. That's a perfectly justifiable excuse to carry a chip on your shoulder. But as a race, as a species, they're like that anyway. It's part of their culture, is just to fight everything, including each other. That's probably what has kept their population in check for not overrunning the universe, kind of like the Arachni would want to do, is that they spend as much time killing each other as everyone else. If it weren't for that, the galaxy would be in other dire circumstances. It wouldn't be the Arachni you'd be worrying about, it'd be the Krogan, which is why they created the genophage. But, you know, natural selection stuff, when you go to interfering, you know, and playing God, it's never going to turn out well, because you don't have the foresight to see the consequences of those actions, right? Anyway, that's a whole nother moral issue. But okay, I'd like to point out something here. Is all right. If this is essentially Saren's company, I mean, it's not actually maybe Saren's. He's like the key stockholder in Binary Helix or whatever. This is his thing, all right. But he has them studying the Arachni, or they're already studying the Arachni, and he has some interest here. I guess we'll find out why later, but what concerns me actually even more than Saren is Cerberus' interest in this. Because, see, Saren's interest in the Thorian was basically the Thorian had been around longer, or as long at least, as the Protheans, and had essentially consumed some Protheans, or whatever, taken their genetic code within itself, and being a telepathic being, had some way to transfer or translate that cipher, all right, or whatever it is that the Protheans have to someone else, and the Asari would be essentially kind of like a conduit for this cipher, because they have the ability to meld genetically and mentally with other species. In this case, that one Asari was used by Saren basically in trade. Basically, it said, okay, let this Asari get the cipher and give it to me, and you can have the Asari, and you can create clones of it, and so you can defend yourself. And then if Shepard ever comes along, you can send that clone after Shepard, which is exactly what that friggin' plant did. That's cool. We kicked the plant's ass. But you see, that's what it was after. It was after the Prothean mind, which it could basically only get through using the Asari, right? and using the Thorian for that purpose. But what sinister things could Cerberus possibly come up with to use a telepathic plant thing, right? What could it do with telepathy, for example? All right, so that's worrisome right there. All right, so we'll take that same agenda and we'll apply it here to the Rachni. What could Cerberus gain from studying the Rachni, which we know it was doing in its secret little labs there? It had the Thorian creepers, so we know it had access to the Thorian, maybe through binary helix here, which Saren... You see the links here? I like establishing these links and seeing how this naturally progressed. And that Cerberus being very much behind the scenes, doing nothing overtly. Everything's covert, right? Everything's very like black ops and espionage and stuff, which I think is cool also. All right, but if that's the case, what are they going to use the Rachni for? Whatever abilities the Rachni have, whatever they can offer to scientific quote-unquote advancement, right? And how can Cerberus use that and abuse that in the future in the name of progressing humanity or whatever, you know? Anyway, very, very interesting groundwork that we're laying here. We're going to see this play out, like I say, in future Mass Effects. But I really, really want to emphasize all this stuff personally, because my personal experience... Oh, wow. This dude was waiting right behind the door, wasn't he? Get off me, dude. A charging destroyer is not what you want to see. They can almost basically one-shot you with their shotguns. And they don't get any better in Mass Effect 2 or 3 either. Alright, so we lay this groundwork. And my personal Mass Effect experience, I feel, was greatly enriched by this. And this is what I pass along to you guys. This is what I really like to share. This is where my passion is my personal experience with the game. I don't catch everything. I don't know everything. I'm no lore aficionado. I haven't read all the books. There are a series of books written on Mass Effect, just like there were on Dragon Age and stuff. The writers who wrote the game also put all that stuff down on paper and wrote out series, so you can get an even broader picture. From what I understand, the Mass Effect stuff, and for those in... Man, I'm tired of yelling over Mira. I got to get this stuff fixed so she'll shut up. I seriously regret ever getting this computer back online. I really do. I really do. She's annoying. For those inclined to really look a little deeper, they have, the BioWare writers did put out stuff that will give you background on a lot of the characters in Mass Effect, and characters related to the characters in Mass Effect. People who might just be barely mentioned in the game itself and in the story, you can find out their backgrounds, and it really even further, I imagine, enriches, you know, the world and the environment and whatever. But for me, I like gathering everything I can from the game. It kind of exercise my investigative, you know. I want to look into stuff and figure things out. It's kind of like a puzzle in a sense. Is let me figure out the story. Who is this and why are they doing this, you know, and what's exactly going on and how does this relate to this, and this doesn't make sense. Like some games make you do mental workarounds so that you can make sense of things. In this, it's all there for you if you find it. Like the reason why this person's doing that, or the reason why that exists, or the reason why this particular system works is made up of all these different parts, but you got to go find all the parts and see exactly why and what, and then you get a full picture. And it's really awesome. I mean, it's there if you want it. So this experience in this game can be just as deep and rich as you want. Basically, if you put in the footwork, it will reward you. So to say, if that makes sense, you know, that's kind of how I look at it. But yeah, this game really stands apart. Dragon Age is a lot the same way. Dragon Age is kind of like to Mass Effect what the Elder Scrolls is to Fallout, in a sense. You know, Dragon Age is kind of like Mass Effect except with swords and magic instead of guns and biotics, right? And, you know, Fallout and Elder Scrolls are kind of similar. You know, you have pistols and mini nukes instead of swords and stuff and magic, you know, that type of thing. So anyway, so we do get a few clues and a bit of evidence here as to what's going on, and this is definitely going to lay the groundwork for antagonists later in the game. Every time we come into this room, there's a new one of these. Like I say, if they've made it this far and they're just constantly just coming, okay, if any of these guys have gotten out, the universe or the galaxy already has a problem on its hands anyway, because these Rachni were trouble the first time, and they obviously don't mean anybody any good. They got just as big a little chip on their, well, I guess I can't say shoulder, their shells or whatever. They got a chip on their shells like they did before. They don't mean anybody any good. They probably don't appreciate being poked and stuck and prodded here in these labs either.
Connections restored. Processing new data. User alert. Unable to connect to hot lab facilities.
Tell me what happened here.
I'm sorry, but I need a more specific query.
Give me a status report on the hot labs.
I am sorry. The network connections to the labs have been damaged. Data is limited.
Give me an overview of the facility.
The hot labs isolate dangerous biological or cybernetic contaminants during development. The complex is built within a glacier. In the event of an accident, it can be irradiated and sunk into the ice.
You have no idea what's going on inside.
I'm afraid not. My last log entry is shortly after the Stage 2 containment alert was sounded.
What's the status of Rift Station?
Rift Station has been locked down by the staff. There are presently no contaminants within the facility.
Give me a status report on the hot labs.
I am sorry. The network connections to the labs have been damaged. Data is limited.
That's all I need right now.
Very well, Commander. Logging you out.
A lot of good it did me getting her online. Anything that might actually be useful, she can't seem to tell me anything. Alright, I know I need to go to the trams. But it seems like there's something else I need to do here. Well, I got the power online, but their connection is still. And this is back towards. This is back towards where I initially came in. Okay, so that was the eating area where we first came in. So you're first introduced to is their little diner or whatever. I wonder if the bugs broke out during lunchtime. Probably.
Now entering decontamination and transit hub. User
So
alert. Loose contaminants in the decontamination.
Man, the user alerts are just...
Access to passenger tramways inadvisable.
Mira, how about you just make it simple? Everything's wrong here. You have to fix everything or else you can't do anything, and just leave it at that. That pretty much sums it up. All right. If Mira was maybe a little more helpful. Well, see, Mira is part of the design here, is that when things go catastrophically wrong, which this is pretty close to catastrophe as far as I'm concerned, for some reason this thing, the fail-safes haven't all been engaged, which is essentially that this lab is cut off, it's irradiated, basically nuked, and then the molten core is dropped into the snow to freeze and become a ball of ice and be forgotten about, type of thing. And then Mary even said herself that in these circumstances, she's basically supposed to be wiped. So there's no evidence, right? Well, I don't know why they're really worried about evidence. There's no law here anyway. Who's going to come investigate? Hell, Shepard's a Spectre, and we were barely allowed to even land as far as that goes. And we were stonewalled every step of the way. And we're not essentially even supposed to be here. If it weren't for getting Annaleus out of the way, we probably wouldn't even be here. So, oh wow, that is a nice Omnitool. Well, I want the rank 10 version of that, right? But, anyway, so they've got all these precautions in place. I would think whatever's going on here with these Rachni, that would justify having dropped this place down. What I'm going to guess is that when we actually get to the labs, we're going to find survivors there, and they don't want these safeguards triggered while they're in the building, type of thing. But I think those safeguards are in place to prevent galactic catastrophe, which is what these Arachni would definitely present. You know, this is what the laws are in place for. Is to prevent, because okay, this is the arrogance of man, or this is just the arrogance of, well, I guess you could say in Mass Effect's case, all the galactic species, is that you know, they seem to think if we seize this power, we can take control of this power and do great things. But their arrogance is that they may not be able to control that power. They don't ever conceive the possibility that the power that they're trying to seize is not within their control. That mankind or humanity or Asari or whoever, you know, that they are not all powerful and that they can't control everything that they can get their hands on, and they can be overwhelmed by it. Their efforts to contain just these simple Rachni who they thought they'd wiped out of existence and obviously hadn't. There's failure number one. To try to contain them here, well, this is an epic failure. Problem number two, and if these things get out and reproduce at the rate of 50 million Rachni a day, right? Well, they'll consume the galaxy. And yeah, that's the consequences everyone else out there is going to have to pay for what they're trying to do here. You see? And so, you know, what Murphy's Law, seriously. Okay, I see red dots on the other side of this. Okay, well, let's get rid of these guys. Okay, these guys are like little sappers. Not cool. Get enough of those biting at your ankles and it's over. What, one popped up in there too? Yeah, see. They got seriously overrun. And, you know, I'm sure they weren't studying this many Rachni. These guys just popped up. Like I say, these things, they're like roaches. They're worse than cockroaches. They're like really aggravated cockroaches that reproduce twice as fast. I wonder if it's that ability that's, you know, if you remember, what was it, Corporal Toombs? Was that his name? He was talking about the Cerberus guys experimenting with Thresher Maw, acid in their veins, right? And why would you test human resistance to Thresher Maw acid in your veins? The human's biological ability to withstand certain things, I don't know, conditioning or something. But the Rachni here have their acid, whatever they spit out, sure seems to be very similar. I know that it bypasses shields, so that would definitely have a military application, right? What if you could apply that to weaponry, ammo, certain projectiles and stuff, to where it could completely bypass any kinds of shields and or something? And then if you could also create a soldier or create technology, some kind of armor or something that was resistant to that. I mean, I can only imagine where they're going with that research, but just for example. So maybe that is Cerberus' interest in the Rachni themselves, to not only create an offensive weapon, but also some kind of defenses against things that are capable of bypassing human engineered defenses. If that makes sense. I'm sitting here trying to talk all technical and I have no idea what I'm saying, but anyway, whatever they're getting at, it's no good. And it, you know, the number of lives that are being spent researching this, and then the number of lives that will be spent once they conclude all their research and come up with something that can even take more lives. It's like, wow, what is the cost of this stuff? Is it too high? You know, the answer would be yes. It is too high. It's a man dealing with things that are far outside his ability to control.
Sorry, we couldn't be sure what was on the tram.
Can those things work at train's controls?
Hell if I know. I'm not assuming any goddamn thing. Look, you're human and that's enough that I won't shoot. I'd like to know who you are.
Call me Shepard. I was sent to find an Asari Matriarch.
Benezia? Yeah, she came through here. The aliens overran the hot labs last week. Only Han Olar got out, and he ain't all there anymore. The first we knew, the bastards were clawing into my command post. We had a lot more staff then.
I'm packing fire and steel. They want to fight with claws and teeth, it's their funeral.
You got my support. The board sent an Asari to clean up the mess. She went to the hot labs yesterday. We haven't heard from her since.
Benezia. Is she still over there?
I don't know. I don't see what one person could do.
A matriarch has the skill to keep herself alive for a long time.
There's an emergency elevator out by the trams. This card will let you activate it. Can take you down to the hot labs. Oh, and if you need any first aid, Dr. Cohen's downstairs in the med bay.
You're certain the Matriarch is still in the hot labs?
She hasn't come back here. You came through Central Station, so she ain't there.
Tell me about the structure of the hot labs.
It's built into one of the glaciers further down the mountain. Real old, thick, stable. Something goes wrong, they heat it up and sink it into the ice. Normally, the crew gets to the labs using a tram from Central Station. Got an elevator that connects directly, but it's for emergency use only. Listen. I'm not sending my people down there. It's too dangerous. You understand?
Did the aliens come from inside the facility, or did they attack from the outside?
You want my personal opinion? Labs like that exist to do stupid crap that gets people killed.
That's pretty much
How are
it.
the people holding up?
We weren't expecting the initial wave. They made it inside. We lost some good people. Those of us left are short-handed. We've kept order by long shifts and stems. I don't like it, but I don't see an alternative.
Tell me about Rift Station.
I can't talk about everything. What do you need to know?
What kind of research is done here?
Beats me. I'm not supposed to know. So long as people don't start dying, it's not my problem.
Tell me about the defenses here.
Secure enough that you shouldn't poke in corners.
I just wanted to offer some deployment advice. You're lucky these things are dumb animals. 3 coordinated guys could take this place.
Have you checked the layout yet? Easily defensible by a few people. That's not counting the automated defenses.
Automated defenses can be overridden.
What impresses me most is the turrets, alarms, and cameras. They're all routed through a central location out by the quarantine labs. One guy can lock down the whole facility. The security hub's the last logical fallback, and we'd have cover from the turrets all the way.
What can you tell me about the aliens?
Ask Dr. Olar. He's the only one who made it out of the hot labs. He's the only Volus left in here.
I need to know more about the situation in the hot labs.
The facility's off the network. The only way to find out would be to send scouts down the elevator, and I won't send my people to their death.
I've got work to do.
Yeah, I hear that. Hell! Man the perimeter! Go, go, go! Go, go, go!
All right, so I'm going to guess Alanis Risk Control Services Security or something. I see a lot of joint venturing here. These guys provide the security. These guys provide the research. These guys provide the materials. These guys provide the manpower. These guys provide a few scientists and so on and so forth. I'm kind of interested to see.
Thanks for the help. Every few hours a group comes up the tram tunnel. It's actually better since we locked down the elevator.
We're all in the same boat.
I don't know why they keep throwing themselves against our defenses. Even animals should learn not to stick their noses where it hurts.
Yeah, I'm interested to see just how many of the different species we have here within the lab. Kind of get a grasp of just how many scientists are left here. Apparently these arachni have killed quite a few people already. I'm assuming everyone that was cut off down there at the restaurant section, across the tram, through the trams, in the tram, all the way back to here, this is basically the last outpost. Kind of like the situation we saw at Zoo's Hope on Pharos. Very similar. The colony had been cut off. In this case, it was from a breach from the labs themselves, and then the arachni spreading out like almost instantly. Imagine overwhelmed everybody. Probably caught them by surprise anyway. If the lab's really high security, then they probably didn't get on a loudspeaker and say, oh, by the way, all that dirty shit we've been doing, it's coming for you and it's about to kill all of you guys. They probably didn't get that note.
Were they at the lab? I never went in the high security areas.
And this also is going to lead to any kind of moral decisions I might want to make here, is that out of the mouth of that one scientist right there, she's not part of the deeper, darker secrets here. She's just here doing a job, and you're going to have some of those. But some of the scientists here, too, have also been those that have seriously crossed any acceptable moral line, right? And done some really horrific experimenting and stuff, probably at the expense of lives. I don't know. Well, we have Asari.
What?
Do you know Matriarch Benezia?
Why ask me and not your friend? Because I do not know anything about the Matriarch. Then why would I?
You're a member of the science teams.
Recently transferred, yes.
What do you do here?
Molecular genetics. I specialize in biotic-enhanced allele-specific hybridization.
Think you could translate that into galactic?
It's a genetic thing. Forget it.
You seem less upset about this situation than the others.
That is one of the virtues of the meditation you interrupted.
Tell me about yourself.
I am Alestia Alice from the University of Arrayas. Is there anything in particular you want to know, or should I just spout random facts?
No need to be so rude.
You are interrupting my meditations. Precisely how rude must I be to convince you to leave?
Well, that's
Sorry, I'll leave.
it's actually a good point. Like, if I haven't made it clear yet, how clear do I have to make this? Get out of my face.
Uncertain. I welcome you. Cautiously, I am curious to know what you're doing here.
It seems I've been caught up in events.
Sympathetically. Everyone here could say the same. For now, with forced cheer, I still have a limited supply of equipment to sell.
Given the situation, you should freely contribute to the defense.
Pointedly, I give freely to Captain Ventralis. You, delicately, are not paid to protect us.
Let's have a look.
Regretfully, most of my stock is being appropriated by Captain Ventralis.
Good opportunity to unload a bunch of this junk. Oh, cool. Got a license down there, too. Nice. Been nice to find some Colossus armor. That would have been sweet. Alright, so we have Asari. We have this Elcor here, although he's just a merchant, but whatever. See if we can't find a Solarian in here somewhere. And so we have a mixed bag here. So we have multi-species interest here in Binary Helix. Multi-species involvement in whatever research they're doing here. All right, joint efforts here. So, And that really just kind of points towards everyone being guilty of this type of thing. But like I say, it's so common now. It's like when out of control becomes the norm, how do you control it? So it's a really good question. Well, I've really been cashing in on the Turian armor. Garrus, this particular playthrough, the loot drop chance has really favored Garrus. he's gotten all kinds of good armor. We can't get anything unless we buy it. And the merchants haven't really been carrying anything either. Hopefully when we get back to Normandy this time, that guy's going to have something. Oh, there is something you can do with the Normandy merchant too, by the way. You can go down into the Mako section. You know, you can go down there in the basement or whatever. And then you can save and go see what he's got. And if he has nothing that you want, you can reload. And it should refresh his inventory. I'm not going to bother with all that. I'll eventually find what I'm looking for. But it's something you can do. If you're looking for a particular set of armor, or particular whatever, that's usually the only thing I might be looking for, actually, is armor. Usually once all my followers and myself have the Spectre weapons that we need, I'm usually set. The armor will come. I'll either be able to buy it somewhere or we'll find it. When we get to Vermeer, looking ahead, but actually we won't be going there in too distant future. We might go take care of that whole Geth problem that the Admiral told us about. We might go deal with that first. In fact, I think that would be advisable to deal with that first. It probably doesn't matter either way, but we go to Vermeer, we probably pick up a good set of armor for everybody. I recall there being like a lot of medical type stations there that you can get armor out of, and a lot of the crates and anyway. And plus, you kill a lot of stuff too, and they'll drop a bunch of gear also. Basically, anything you might need to finish the game with, you'll probably pick up on Vermeer through either looting something or killing something, pretty much. That was my experience. So, yeah, we got Turians here, and Avolis. Yeah, that's just about everybody.
You came to find out about them, didn't you?
Are you trying to be cryptic or are you just nuts?
I wish I were crazy. It would be easier.
I need to know more about those things out there.
About the Rachni?
Rachni? That's preposterous.
The Krogan wiped them out 1,000 years ago.
They found it in a derelict ship. An egg. Waiting since the last battles. They brought it here.
Shut up! God, you want to get us killed?
I don't have any control over who lives or dies here. Do you?
If you're gonna be crazy, be the quiet kind.
Crazy? I'm sane. God, am I sane?
Could Matriarch Benezia survive in the hot labs?
It's possible. The specimens were sensitive to biotics.
I heard you were at the hot labs. How did you make it out alive?
I killed her.
Who?
Doctors on Muir. We were going to lunch when the alarms went off. I ran into the tram, and I closed the doors. She banged on the window once, then they sliced her to pieces. Her head came apart like a melon. I closed the door. I killed her.
Huh. Gotta live with that the rest of your life.
Tell me what you know. I'll make your survival mean something.
You think I want absolution? There is none.
I'll be leaving now.
Yeah.
Huh. Think we need to get in here. Actually...
You're not part of the crew.
My name's Shepard.
Look, Plague doesn't care who you are. This lab is under quarantine.
Right, we may find out what they were researching the Rachni for here in just a second. Find out what that quarantine lab is all about, and may have something to do with the loss of containment of the Rachni also. Let's, there are several ways that we can go about finishing this mission here. The idea is to essentially get down to the hot labs and deal with that and try to deal with Matriarch Benezia also. Several ways to do it. What I'm going to do is I want to talk to everybody anyway, get a little more insight into what all is going on here. There's more of a fast track way. I think there was a way to get Captain Ventralis basically to give us a pass to get down to the hot labs directly, but coming back up, you don't deal with the Matriarch directly. What you wind up dealing with is another issue, and then when you come back, it's a whole different scenario up here.
Something you need?
I need to get into the quarantine.
I need to know more about the situation in the hot labs.
The facility's off the network. The only way to find out would be to send scouts down the elevator, and I won't send my people to their death.
I've got work to do.
You and me both.
Okay, he's the one to talk to get me into the quarantine, but something else I have to do first. Let me figure that out. And then I think another way is to essentially just go through a restricted area, set off the alarms, make people hostile, and basically bulldog our way in there. But it's cool because there's several different ways to resolve this. But the bottom line is we need to get down there and we need to talk to Matriarch Benezia, most importantly. But what it's going to require is solving Peak 15's issues along the way. We already had to bring Mira back online, which will probably help the people here anyway. We'll see why in a second.
What do you want?
I've had a long day. Don't piss me off.
Yes, I'm sorry. I haven't had much sleep lately.
What happened to these people?
They're suffering from a toxin. There was an accident. I have a non-disclosure agreement. I shouldn't discuss it with anyone outside of the company.
But what you're going to, because I might be able to help.
I'd like to think that the company finds our lives more valuable than their secrets. You know Mira, the VI for Peak 15? She handles the safety protocols for our experiments here.
You should consider doing safer experiments.
All progress requires... Look, is this really the time for an ethics debate? We lost the connection to Mira in the middle of an experiment and the quarantine failed. These three were exposed to a toxin, something we were working on.
I need full cooperation if I'm gonna help. Do you want these people to live? If not, I'll walk out of here.
No, wait. It's a bioweapon, based on an exotic life form discovered on the frontier. They wanted something that could kill the creature, but there was no profit in something that kills one species on the frontier. We kept working on it and adapted it to affect more species. Thoros B is highly infectious, but can't pass from one person to another, like a biowar attack without a pandemic spread.
Do you imagine that distinction makes this ethical?
Militaries, governments, they'll get this kind of weapon one way or another, and we're trying to limit the damage. I know you can't see that.
You made this, but can't cure it. Don't you people take notes?
Our first priority was getting it working. We were close to synthesizing an antidote when Mira went down. Our notes and equipment are locked in the quarantine labs. Captain Ventralis doesn't want to risk more contamination.
Is he right to keep people out?
No, the toxin has a brief period of viability. After that, it breaks down into simple protein chains. But he won't listen to me.
I'll talk to him. Maybe I can convince him to let me try.
I can't ask you to do this officially, but if you can do anything, I'd appreciate it.
What will it take to get the cure for these people?
The quarantine labs are near the science team's quarters. Once you're in there, look for our notes. It should just be a matter of following our processes.
How's the science team holding up?
Better than Ventralis' guards. They've been on alert since the first attack. I've been administering stims at their request. But every species needs to sleep. They're getting twitchy, irrational.
Are you the doctor here?
I'm our doctor, but not the doctor. My specialty is microbiology, not first aid. We had a medic, Dr. Salah, but we lost him. The automatics can handle basic treatment. Mira runs them.
Talk to you later.
I hope you can do something.
Right, so getting Mira working again got the med station back online.
The system is online and ready to provide emergency services.
What are you doing over here?
I administrate the systems of all of the various Peak 15 facilities.
What treatments have been attempted?
I'm afraid treatment is not possible. An unknown toxin is present within the tissues of each patient.
What's wrong with these people?
Accessing logs. They were in the midst of an experiment when the shutdown began.
When you were taken offline.
Without my program to administrate containment procedures, a quarantine breach occurred.
Think you could run that equipment for us?
Certainly, Commander. One moment, please.
Ah, so the emergency protocol is in place to prevent the breach by the Rachni, which happened anyway because they didn't know how to control the Rachni because it was an unknown quantity.
I've heard about the problems in the quarantine lab. I'd like to recover the toxin cure.
God, I wish we could help those guys. I really do, but we can't risk contamination now.
If we survive, your employers will want a report from me. I wonder how much insurance they have on those scientists.
All right, you want to gamble with your life, you're not under my command. I'll have the guard let you in, but he'll lock the door behind you. He'll run a full scan before he'll let you out. If there are any anomalies, you stay in there.
Great. We'll be stuck unless he decides we're healthy.
I'll radio ahead to let the guard know. Good luck.
Right, so the...
You and me both.
The containment procedures triggered the very thing that released the toxin, which is what they were basically trying to get. This is what their research was about. It's kind of nice being able to look back on this in hindsight, get an overview, because I think I just figured out what the link here is. All right, we know what Saren's interest in the Thorian was, to get the cipher. All right, in a roundabout way, using his Asari and his Asari slave, essentially, or whatever. All right, and trading her off because he's a traitor and he's only out for his own thing because he's a tool himself. All right, But Cerberus interest in that. Okay, if the Thorian has the ability to control its thralls, all right, so you find some way to research a toxin that will affect every race, combining the Thorian and the
What do you want?
I have Ventralis's permission to go in there.
Yeah, he radioed. He also said you have to prove you're not contaminated to get out. You got a death wish? You should stand watches on the barricade.
All right, so this is just a loose understanding of this. You take the Rachni venom and use that, maybe taking some of the Thresher Maw technology too, or something. I don't know. Some results of your research there, but whatever they did, they make a toxin here that will affect everybody, and use the Thorian's mind control abilities or something, right? And create something that's a biological weapon where you can not only poison enemies, but take control of them and use them as your own thralls, maybe?
Ends here, Shepard.
I thought she seemed odd.
What happened to Ventralis's man?
I didn't have permission to come in. He got in my way. I was ordered to eliminate you should the opportunity arise. And here you are, trapped in this lab. Weapons free!
And she brings Gaff. Awesome. Oh, we got an extra sorry commando here too, huh? Alright. Well, this is what Singularity is for. This right here. Take that. You know you hit them hard when you get lag. Yeah, she's gone. Oh, good deal. That didn't work. All that did was lifted the box and got the box out of the way so they could shoot us. Oh, yeah, awesome. Okay, gotta do something about this. She's out of the way. Poor Tali. All right, so yeah, I see like Cerberus kind of going off and doing its own type of thing. Must be nice to have the access to all this stuff. But yeah, notice the name of the toxin was Thoros B or whatever, obviously taken from Thorian, right? So they're kind of combining all this stuff and making something, a biological weapon where you can essentially poison. And I wonder if it's designed. That's I have a sneaky suspicion that it's designed. It doesn't really matter. The bottom line is it's a biological weapon, and you know, using something like that can never end well. But they made it to where it's individual and it can possibly affect everybody.
They came out of there.
That door's locked. How can I get in?
A team lead would have access, like Dr. Cohen. He's in the medical bay.
I need to know everything about the Rachni.
I told you all I can. We brought the Rachni back from the dead. In retrospect, a bad decision.
How can I get into the maintenance area?
A team lead would have access, like Dr. Cohen. He's in the medical bay.
I'll be leaving now.
Yeah.
All right, so like this is a back door way in. We can get through those maintenance doors. We just got to go turn this this serum into Dr. Cohen to fix that filth that he himself essentially created. He was about to have an ethics debate. Well, all progress costs... Okay, wait a minute. Hold on, stop right there. The argument stops where it starts. Is the definition of progress, right? Usually inclines towards benefits, right? There's no benefit to these things, right? Where the downside, the kickback from creating this type of stuff is galactic-wide atrocity, you know, Armageddon, apocalypse and stuff, you know. No, sorry. That's not a... You're causing the very thing you're going to try to prevent? No, sorry. you win a war to save some life and destroy all life in the process of winning that war, then you've won nothing. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, rather than get off into all that. Yeah, interesting concept, combining the Thorian and the Rachni, what would you say, biology or whatever? But qualities from each one to create a serum that you can control others with, I'm guessing.
Is that the cure? You did it?
I was ambushed in the lab you sent me to. If you set me up...
You were attacked? I don't know anything about that. I hate conflict. I've never even fired anyone. I have my receptionist do it. Look, the guards, they've been more on edge since you got here. I think they were expecting you. And there are more labs in the back. The guards won't even let me back there. Just people with clearance.
What about the maintenance area? Do you have access to that?
The maintenance area? Yes. Take my pass. But there's just snow back there. Let me see that file. An extension on Phelps' work? I thought he was on the right track. I can't thank you enough that... Oh, God, what a cliché. You saved their lives, do you know that?
And I almost lost mine. Thanks is all I get? We need to be at peak to fight those aliens. Give us some Metagel.
Of course. Here. You didn't get these from me. Ventralis wanted them saved for his people. I need to administer this. Thanks again.
Also, I'd like to note that object that he's standing there programming and working on is the very same object used to do some really nasty stuff. You'll notice there will be things standing within those objects, being created by those. It's some kind of technology which would enhance the very thing that they were talking about working on with their serum and some other stuff.
No. Sorry, I haven't had much sleep since the attack. Is there something you need?
I'm looking for an Asari.
Dr. Ayalis is... well, she was right over there. There's also our guest, Lady Benezia. Captain Ventralis might know where she is.
How are you holding up?
It would be petty to complain after showering off a coworker's brain. None of us have had enough sleep since the attack. Of course, not all of us have guns.
What sort of work do you do here?
I can't say. I signed a non-disclosure agreement. If we survive, I'd like to keep my job.
Wow.
The location is terrible, but the pay is better than any other commercial lab.
You're not happy on Peak 15?
The outside world doesn't exist here, just walls of ice and rock. There's only the work, the discovery. It's easy to forget why science is guided by ethics. Maybe we're paying for that now.
You think?
What do you know about the hot labs?
Nothing, I didn't work there. As far as I know, Han Olar was the only survivor.
What do you do here?
I'm a toxicologist. I can't talk about my work. Not that I'm doing anything since the accident.
I'll talk to you later.
Remember to report any suspicious noises.
I just fixed that mess you created. Of course, if you had any morals or conscience, well, I'm not even going to bother. Yeah, anyway. Alright, well, we have our backdoor pass. And let's see if we can't somehow manage to find Matriarch Benezia. Fixed a lot of their other little problems along the way. Alright, but anyway, if you remember at the very beginning of the game, you had the you had those husks that were being created on those huge pillars. The Geth you saw putting the colonists on Eden Prime on these spikes basically, and turning them into, is basically somehow, since this, that I guess that would be the Reaper version of indoctrinating, but it was changing them over to a synthetic slave, a drone, a thrall, if you will. All right, and what if Cerberus manufactured the technology to be to be able to create that, all right, themselves? They could take their enemies and turn them into husks and use them against them, and then they could master the same technology that the Reapers use to whatever, right? Okay, well, that's assuming you could control that technology once you grab onto it, because that same technology has been wiping out all galactic life for millions and millions of years. You'd be pretty arrogant to think that you're going to take a hold of that and control it. Sorry, that's one horse that when you get on its back, it's going to buck you off, and then it's going to step on your face. right? But pride won't allow you to accept that, right? So anyway, you already see where all that's going, right? But if you had the technology to create a husk, that thing that the Dr. Cohen was working on back there, that's exactly what that was. We're going to see a lot more of those, even in future Mass Effects and stuff. But I'll go ahead and say that right now, that is what that technology is for. All right, I think these are the hot labs. I think this is it. Probably be a good opportunity to save, too. Let me make sure. I think we'll go ahead and switch out. We're not going to need the medical interface as much. We're not going to be dealing with poison. This is nasty. This is one of those fights right there with fighting that Krogan after you get Liara, or fighting all those mobs when you're taking the Thorian down. Okay, this is one of those. This is a boss battle essentially. This one's pretty interesting. This one can get really, really nasty. There's a key to this fight. If anyone's interested, I'll throw in my 2 cents. This is how I deal with it. Biotics or not, there's definitely one way to get through this on insanity.
You do not know the privilege of being a mother. There is power in creation. To shape a life, turn it toward happiness or despair. Her children were to be ours. Raised to hunt and slay Saren's enemies.
Well, we see Saren's interest there.
I won't be moved by sympathy, no matter who you bring into this confrontation.
I've no idea what you're talking about, and I don't care.
Indeed. What have you told her about me, Liara?
What could I say, Mother? That you're insane? Evil? Should I explain how to kill you? What could I say?
Have you faced an Asari commando unit before? Few humans have.
You won't look so smug with a hole in your head.
Your insolence is a poor mask for your fear.
Stasis, so that's not good. I don't think I want to be standing here. Alright, so essentially this is a fight of waves. We're going to face several waves. This initial one can actually be pretty bad because these are all biotics here. They'll toss you around and throw you up in the air and knock you down and treat you like a rag doll. And the key to this essentially is running around the circles and be prepared. Each one of these corners is a spawn point, and be prepared to face a group or a mob each time you get here, and they present a different challenge. Like the Asari Commandos, they're really tanky because they have their biotic barriers, shields, resistances, blah, blah, blah. And they have ability to incapacitate you by throw and, stuff like that. So, I'm playing a biotic. They essentially have the same powers. Now we can expect snipers with the Geth, and this is where it gets dangerous. Luckily, we're right here. Okay? And you definitely want to have some of this at your disposal. You want singularity. You want some way to incapacitate, because if they can sit there and get 3 shots on you, they'll take your party out in about 2 seconds. They'll take everybody out. All you'll hear is boop, 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 and that's it. It's over. And then, of course, the third wave is just more of the same, right? But if you can get through each wave, then heal everybody up. Even if you're just partially hurt, doesn't matter. Usually by the time the next wave is over, you'll get your Metagel back again. This is how I deal with it, just kind of talking through it. But keep moving. Well, you definitely don't want to stay in front of Matriarch Benezia, who's basically on the other side over there. So we got a sniper right there, and he will scope in on me in about 1 second. Looked like he was going to shoot even though he was hacked. Oh wow, he only stayed hacked for like a second. All right. And this will be the last mob that she summons, basically. And then we figure out which corner the Geth just spawned in. Oh, same corner. Okay, that's good. Let's see if we can't kind of huddle them all together. Like I say, Matriarch Benezia is basically on the other side of that wall to our left, and that's what we want. Or she will sit there and debuff you with biotics. Stasis, knocking you down on the ground, incapacitating you. If she knocks you down on the ground while you're sitting there and a sniper scopes in on you, you can't do anything, but you're just dead. It's just the way it is, type of thing. So, definitely getting out of her face. Alright, we'll figure out exactly what other enemies she got. Go ahead and start getting rid of some of these, too. We don't need those going off in the middle of a fight. Let me get... I don't know how Liara got knocked down. She must have got stuck back there with the Matriarch. That's what Benezia does while she's doing her thing. Okay, that's the Matriarch. I need that sniper. I still got one more sniper. Look at how quick. I'm not exactly sure what she did to me there. I guess she's just got a really, really strong pistol or something. Whatever. Or the sniper got me. The sniper might have got me. You see, this corner is not a good corner to be in. This is exactly where we don't want to be, right in front of the Benezia. I think if we can knock these two out real quick, though, we'll kind of end this wave. Here we go. Good deal.
This is not over. Saren is unstoppable. My mind is filled with his light. Everything is clear.
I expected better from Asari commandos.
I will not betray him. You will... You must listen. Saren still whispers in my mind. I can fight his compulsions briefly, but the indoctrination is strong.
Why are you able to break free of his control now?
I sealed a part of my mind away from the indoctrination, saving it for a moment when I could help destroy him. It will not last long.
We met Shiala on Pharos. She told us about Sovereign's indoctrination.
It is a terror to be trapped in your mind, to beat upon the glass as your hands torture and murder. I was powerless, nothing but a tool for Saren. He sent me here to find the location of the Mu relay. Its position was lost thousands of years ago.
How does something that big go missing?
4,000 years ago, a star nearby went supernova. The shockwave propelled the relay out of its system, but did not damage it. Its precise vector and speed are impossible to determine. As millennia passed, the nebula created by the nova enveloped the relay. It is difficult to find any cold object in interstellar space, particularly something swathed in hot dust and radiation.
Tell me where the Mu Gate is before I lose my temper.
Of course, Commander. I transcribed the data to an OSD. Take it, please.
Knowing the relay's coordinates is not enough. Do you know where he planned to go from there?
Saren wouldn't tell me his destination, but you must find out quickly. I transmitted the coordinates to him before you arrived. You have to stop me. I can't. His teeth are at my ear. Fingers on my spine. You should... Oh, you should...
Mother, don't leave. Fight him.
You've always made me proud, Liara. Die.
Wow, you always made me proud. Now die. Alright, now this is where you got to go. Got to get these commandos out of the way and got to get out of Benezia's face, or it's over right here. And it sucks so bad having to redo this, because you have to basically redo the whole fight. I have autosave turned off anyway, so I don't think any of this progress counts. I think it starts you at the beginning of the fight regardless. Wow, the R is already down? Damn. Yeah, you got to get out of there. It was nice, though, her last little moment of sanity that she thought to say something to her daughter. That's almost touching, in a way. Alright, if I can get Liara up and keep her up and heal her real quick. Nice. I think we can deal with Matriarch Benezia. I think we got her. Oh, nope, still got a commando left. Damn. I didn't realize she summoned that many on the last wave. Yeah, but if they can lock you in place and knock you over and let the Matriarch get a couple shots on you, that's it.
I cannot go on. You will have to stop him, Shepard.
First you turn on the Council, now on Saren. You're not loyal to anything, are you?
I suppose that is how history will know me. Mother. Good night, little wing. I will see you again with the dawn. No light. They always said there would be a...
I really get the impression that Matriarch Benezia was really royalty, that had a lot of charisma, a lot of presence. She just became a tool. Like that, her euphemism was like beating on the glass in your own mind while you watch your hands go against your will and torture and murder and stuff. And wow. So to be aware of what you're doing as you're doing it, but you can't do anything about it, that would suck.
This one serves as our voice.
This one.
We
Huh.
cannot sing.
Note that.
Not in these low spaces. Your musics are colorless.
Who am I speaking to here?
We are the mother. We sing for those left behind. The children you thought silenced. We are Rachni.
I didn't come here to talk to bugs.
The children we birthed were stolen from us before they could learn to sing. They are lost to silence. And their suffering, they cannot be saved. They will only cause harm as they are.
I don't understand. Why are your children killing people?
These needlemen, they stole our eggs from us. They sought to turn our children into beasts of war, claws with no songs of their own. Our elders are comfortable with silence. Children know only fear if no one sings to them. Fear has shattered their minds.
I understand. A child left alone in a closet until she is 16 would not be sane.
I'm more than willing to wipe them out.
Such discordance bodes ill for what we must compose here. Before you deal with our children, we stand before you. What will you sing? Will you release us? Are we to fade away once more?
Look, those tanks? Acid. Strong enough to kill anything, no matter its biology. They wouldn't have installed that if they weren't afraid of the consequences of her getting loose.
They made a mistake. They let the Krogan go too far. This is a chance for us to atone. She has done nothing to us.
Your companions hear the truth. You have the power to free us, or return our people to the silence of memory.
Are you a survivor from the war? A clone?
We do not know. We were only an egg, hearing Mother cry in our dreams. A tone from space hushed one voice after another. It forced the singers to resonate with its own sour yellow note. Then we awoke in this place, the last echo of those who came out from the singing planet. The sky is silent.
If I let you live, would you attack other races again?
No. I do not know what happened in the war. We only heard discordance, songs the color of oily shadows. We would seek a hidden place to teach our children harmony. If they understand, perhaps we would return.
I won't destroy your entire race. You'll go free.
You will give us the chance to compose anew. We will remember. We will sing of your forgiveness to our children.
Alright, so the children of this thing, the eggs, basically as soon as the eggs were laid, they were taken away, and out of telepathic range of this, they apparently communicate through some different means with one another and pass along all their ancestry. Like these echoes she was talking about from before being passed along. I'm assuming that's this like music, this tone that carries down through the generations of these Rachni so that they can grow, similar to the way the Asari talk about how they grow as a species. They essentially assimilate with whoever they mate with and gather the combined experience from that particular species, or tracing back through that particular line from that particular species. Like maybe it's just, you know, a family thing. You know, like I guess you couldn't get the whole human experience from just one family line. You could only go back as far as those generations, whatever they've experienced. But, you know, if you do that enough, then you could kind of get the gist or the combined contribution from a whole different species. And so the Asari essentially do that with everybody, everything. Very interesting, really cool concept there. Well, the Arachni, apparently they gather their stuff over generations. They can pass it along and along, and if that ever gets cut off, then they basically start from scratch, right? And wherever they go from there, I just can't imagine how that happened with the war, with whole armies of these things getting cut off from one another, and then the discordance, and how she described it in that poetic language. I thought that was awesome. I love the way the Rachni talk. I really do. All right, we have one more issue to deal with before we leave here, is the whole Rachni issue. She basically said, these children are lost. You're going to have to deal with them. They're not part of, you know, anything. They're not going to be fixed. Is their forfeit, basically. We've done some leveling here. All right. Well, I'm kind of working on all these. Armor, pistols, throw. I'd like to get lift up there, too. What am I looking about? 5, 9... 17. No, I won't be getting all these. I'm gonna have to make a choice. Probably at least lift and pistols. I think that'll work. I'm guessing we only have about 9 or 10 more levels to go before we're done here. Now, we could have done this initially. Captain Ventralis would have sent us down here. Alright, so I guess this is where they were breeding or harvesting the eggs or something. And that's what section this is. And notice, once again, we have another one of those little standing things, that right there, where you can create husks.
Are you here to secure the situation?
If by secure you mean shoot every monster I see, sure.
I am certain you are having strong feelings. But what has happened here, it is our fault. You understand?
I understand that we'll be dead soon. Talk fast.
Binary Helix found an egg. It was on a derelict ship, thousands of years drifting. This was Rachni ship. Inside they find many eggs in cryogenic suspension.
They should have destroyed it. Why hatch it?
Binary Helix planned to clone Rachni, mass-produce them, create an army. But when they get here, they find this egg is not a common Rachni. It is a queen. After she lays eggs, they move her to Rift Station. They are thinking that without her, they can raise the babies to be obedient.
Hold on. Don't you need a male to get eggs?
Queens are born carrying the genetic code of their fathers. Eggs are carried away from the colony to hatch alone. Queens can lay eggs in hours and have a colony in days. This is how they spread so quickly.
Separating them from their mother didn't work.
This was exactly the wrong thing to do. I am thinking that without a queen, Rachni do not develop properly. Her mind is shaping theirs. These Rachni are uncontrollable.
Are you telling me I shouldn't kill these things?
Actually, I was to tell you the opposite. These Rachni are beyond saving. It is a sad thing, but they must be euthanized. I am thinking that the neutron purge must be set off.
I'm not familiar with the purge system.
It creates bursts of neutron radiation, kills everything within the station. Things beyond get genetic damage of varying degree.
How do we set off the purge?
Arming controls are nearby. All you do is insert the key. Then I will give Mira destruct.
I don't think the Rachni wanted him telling us that. So they can understand what we're saying, huh? Oh, nice. Nice. Like that was avoidable. Cheap shot. Good thing I had some poison resistance, right? Bastard. Alright, I think that's a good idea too. Let's go ahead and purge this place. I guess this is that thing where this whole place is just nuked basically and then dropped into the ice. I guess it melts its way into the ice and then it's frozen over and... something for some future generation to uncover and experiment on and then destroy the galaxy with, right? Yep. We'll go ahead and, speaking of poison resistance. Actually, I'm kind of surprised I didn't get one-shotted right there. Alright. See if Mira can help us with this.
Connecting. I have full access to the facility and am at your disposal.
Activate the neutron purge.
I'm sorry, but I can't do that without proper code authorization.
Code input 875020079. Code Omega local execution.
Verified. Code Omega execution in 120 seconds.
Well, that doesn't give me much time to get out of here. This is exactly what I need to do. And stop running around here in circles like an idiot. Alright, and we got a mob of these sons of bitches. Alright, this is interesting. And deadly. You want to get the ankle biters. So they'll come in and just wipe the party. Liara's going to get down by the next thing that hits her. It's basically guaranteed. Okay, this is taking too long. They are not going down. Not good. She's probably going to go right back down, too. But Tali's been just getting the worst of it here. Good side to how I have this, how I have my party built is that everyone complements one another. But the downside is if, you know, sometimes you get a little bit of an advantage. Although I like having Tali around for the Geth. Regardless, and Geth are, they're a major player in pretty much most of the stuff that you do here, right? So that works out. But at times like this where it might be nice to have just a little extra biotic punch, so to speak, you know, like having maybe Rex around or something. Rex doesn't provide what Tali does in the, what is it, the decryption department? I think it's decryption or electronics, whichever. And Liara can handle a lot of that, but I want her to focus her points on her biotics and stuff. And so what I do is I give Liara, I think I give Liara the electronics, and then Tali, and, or even Garrus. Garrus can do it also, because I like bringing Garrus along too. And he provides a bit of what Tali does. He can't do any hacking, but he can do damping, all right? Which is nice. The hacking is pretty much irreplaceable, though, overall, when it comes to dealing with Geth. But a close second comes Garrus. All right, well, I had to rush out of there. I can't believe we made it to the elevator with 1 second left. It's crazy. All right, that's that. Anyway, apparently the purge went off, and I don't know if it killed everybody that was in the living quarters also. But, you know, they kind of made their bed, and if they have to lie in it, I really not a lot I can do about that. Either that or let that problem go out and once again plague the universe, which I may have done anyway by letting that queen go. But this was a man's device. That queen can go off and be a bug of her word, then that's great. I don't know. But like I said, that's a decision I'm not qualified to make. I can't speak against that kind of decision and then turn around and do it.
What's our next move, Commander? Head for the Mu relay?
The Mu relay could link to dozens of systems. Unless we know exactly where Saren's going, we'd just be wasting our time.
The commander is right. We cannot rush off blind. We still need to learn more about Saren.
Who put you in charge? Did the commander resign when I wasn't looking?
I won't be a puppet for the Asari. I give the orders around here, understood?
Forgive me, Commander. I was only trying to help.
We're done here. Crew, dismissed.
Novaria report is away, Commander. You want me to patch you through to the Council?
Patch him through, Joker.
Setting up the link now, Commander.
Commander, do not cut me off like last time. I failed to find it amusing.
I don't. I think it's awesome.
Save the sermon. I'm just here to follow up on my report.
Is this report accurate, Commander? You found Rachni on Novaria?
And then release the Queen. Do you have any idea what you've done? How many generations until they overrun the galaxy?
3? No, 4.
This is no joke, Commander. The Rachni were one of the greatest threats the galaxy ever faced.
All I care about is stopping Saren. The Rachni don't matter.
The mission must always come first. Just be aware that your actions can have far-reaching consequences.
We'll be waiting for your next report, Commander.
Oh, I missed an opportunity to hang up on the... Oh, man. Oh, well. Yeah, well, how about the Council uses their own logic and realizes that lack of action can have even more far-reaching consequences. But, you know, like I say, exterminating the Rachni completely, if I was even capable of doing that, may not be the last queen. But that's not my decision to make. All right, well, we got that done. I think we'll probably go talk to the rest of the crew and go see what other trouble we can get into on the next one. See where this goes from here. If you want to subscribe, click that button up top. Thanks for hanging out. If you want to catch the rest of this Let's Play, you can click that image in the middle. It should send you straight to the playlist. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.